listening to the Budget Overland podcast, where we talk everything overlanding, have guests on regularly, and even have a bonus show on Mondays called Overland Shenanigans, which it's like it sounds, a bunch of shenanigans. Stick around, see who's on today's episode. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Budget Overland Podcast. I am your host, Benji. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today's episode is pretty fun. I've got a friend on, Justin Williams. He is an admin now of Budget Overland over on the Facebook group. He was a moderator forever, and I just felt like, what the heck, let's bump him up to admin and help me out some. He does a fantastic job behind the scenes, and me and him just have a conversation. We have no agenda of what we're going to talk about. We're just having a conversation, and we briefly touch on GMRS radio and ham radios, kind of just bounce off the two, and other than that, some interesting things that are going on in our world of overland. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. Here's today's episode. Justin, how in the world did you get involved with overlanding?
Man, I've always been doing something with four-wheel drive since I was a kid. My parents hated it because I always tore everything up. But I grew up in South Louisiana since I was 14. There's really not much to do but mud ride around here. There's a mud ride or hunt. So, and usually you combine the two. But probably around COVID time. I mean, I just started seeing a couple YouTube channels. I was like, man, that's pretty cool. I like camping. You know, let me try and start a build. And I was kind of up in the air whether I was going to purchase a new vehicle. I mean, I got a 2010 Tacoma. With my job on the river, I'm hardly ever in my truck. My truck usually sits 200 days out the year. So getting a brand new vehicle and paying a note for something to sit in the parking lot seemed pretty absurd, right. You know. I was like, instead of putting money into a brand new truck or pay a note, like, let me jump into this overland deal, and ended up finding a body armor 4x4 tent when body armor 4x4 first came out. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and I ended up getting the tent, the awning, the annex room, everything shipped to my door for $1,300. So I mean, wow,
that's unheard of now.
Yeah, I mean the tent. I think the tent's right at $1,000, like $999 or something like that. I know you can catch it on sales for a little bit less, but I mean, I was like, let me get that. And I like taking my son with me whenever we get a chance, but he doesn't get to go on too many of my trips, like the rendezvous in October or more in April because he's in school. But you know, it's like, let me give that a shot. And I've met a ton of awesome people at these events. I mean, there's people that I met at more, Caleb and my buddy Mark and Rob. We all just happen to be put in a camping spot next to each other, like all five of us.
It's funny how that works out. It really is.
And I mean, we're in a group text to this day, like back and forth. You know, I mean, nice. I happened to cook a jambalaya and a pastelaya that first year, and now 2 or 3 months leading up to more, I get texts, hey man, you cooking? You know, people are planning their menus and what they're going to make or what they're going to bring or whatever, you know. And, hey, we didn't even plan anything for Friday or Saturday night because we know you're going to cook. You know, you better show up. You know, I mean, it's just, it's the friendships that have come from just random people is awesome with this crew, you know.
How did you, so watching and getting involved with, you know, you say you bought the tent and all the awning and the shower room and all that stuff based off of like looks, like from watching YouTube videos, and you're like, you know what, that looks kind of practical or cool, or I want to try that out, versus like ground tent or trying to sleep in the bed of your truck or any of that stuff? How did you decide what road to go down? Because it's kind of a commitment at that those price points, you know, that you're going to go down. So how did you come to those conclusions?
Well, for one, I'm old and I don't like sleeping on the ground. So that was a kind of a no-brainer. I mean, if you camp, I mean, I used to camp all the time, and it never fails. You could bring a bulldozer in and bulldoze a nice spot. That could be your spot, like perfect. The moment you lay down, there's going to be a root somewhere. There's going to be a stick poking you in your back. There's going to be a rock or something, you know. I was like, oh man. I was like, let me just try this rooftop tent deal. And that's, I mean, kind of looks, kind of practicality. I mean, it was a multiple of factors, you know, and it was like, you know, let me get this, see how it works. But it was one of those deals. Hey, this is entry level. I know this is a bare bones model. I know this is like is almost as budget as you can get with a rooftop tent. So if I happen to not like it, hey, I could maybe flip it, get some money back, and I'm not stuck with like an iCamper for like $2,000, something like that, you know?
Right.
So I mean, I was trying to go about it, trying to get my feet wet with it, but still try and stay in a budget.
Yeah, all those tents now, man, like the hard shells, they're like pushing $3,000 to $5,000.
Yeah, I saw
it's insane.
Saw an advertisement today, and it was like $900 off. It's like, oh yeah, that kind of looks like a good deal until you see it, and it's like a $3,800 tent, even with the $900 off. Like, man, that's insane.
You have to be committed.
You know, and I mean, I was once I built my Tacoma out, and went on some of these trips. Like I went up to Land Between the Lakes with a buddy of mine, Richard, and his wife Sharon, last July. I just happened to end up with a random weekend off, and I was able to go. The wife and kids were out of town, so I just took off. I mean, it said it was going to be like 75, 78 degrees, but the humidity was killing me. We were on like the Tennessee, Kentucky border. It was miserable. Yep. Even with a big like Ryobi fan and all, it was miserable. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to try and look at either like a Zero Breeze or one of those portable ACs. But I mean, that's just one other thing to pack.
One other thing to pack, and you got to charge it, then you got to store it.
Yeah, and I mean that.
I don't know. I'd like to test out one of those, whatever the Zero Breezes are. They look kind of, you know, as far as my understanding, kind of pretty much takes out the humidity. It's not like, you know, like a window unit. You know, I feel like it kind of takes out the humidity and it converts it and it just kind of blows it into cold air. But there's also Freon in it, so I don't know how that works. I'd be curious to see how that works.
Yeah, you know, you see all the reviews on them, but I mean, something with a price tag, I think they're what, like $1,200-$1,400. I think you can find them a little bit cheaper than that. But it's like, man, I pulled the trigger on that, and I'm not pleased with it. And you go to resell it, even brand new. I mean, you go to resell it, you're not going to get what you paid for it, so you're taking a hit.
Right.
You know, now I mean, best case scenario, you know, you got a buddy that has one. Hey, man, let me check it out real quick. You know, and try it for a weekend. I mean, that's the best.
And to get an honest review from, you know, YouTubers or whoever, Instagrammers, it's really hard because a lot of those, I mean, most of that's an affiliate based strategy for them, you know, but there's some good review people out there that are honest with their reviews, but some will just they'll sell you whatever, you know, like a snow cone and then a snowstorm or something.
Exactly.
Anything to get their sale.
Yeah, but that leads me to my next little point. Being in Louisiana, I mean, from around May, sometimes even earlier to November or December, can't do anything with that rooftop tent. I mean, you can, but you're gonna lose weight because you're gonna sweat it all off. I mean,
that's how I feel about diesel heaters. It opens up the whole winter, you know, of camping. You know, in the teens and stuff, I would have never thought I would have camped in the teens. It's insane.
Yeah, those are definitely a game changer, especially for their price point. I mean,
for about $100-$150, you're
the cheap
good.
Amazon ones. I mean, the Webasto and what's that other one? I think the one I have is like a Firefly or something.
Mine's like a Vador or Vador or something weird.
Is it Vivor?
Vivor.
Yeah, I think that might be it. But then, I mean, you see those, and I mean, it's so cheaply made. So I mean, you're gonna have defects with it. You know, I mean, it's hit or miss. You know, so there's five people that say, "Oh man, that's an awesome one," and one person, "Oh man, that's a piece of junk," because they got the lemon. You know, I mean,
yes,
I mean, it's one of those things. You're buying a $200 diesel heater, and that gets you one season. Hey man, that's almost throwaway. You know.
I've had mine for 2 years, and what's so cool about these diesel, they call it the Chinese diesel heater, the cheap ones. You can get the expensive ones for about $1,500 plus. But the cool thing about the Chinese diesel heaters, there's a Facebook group only for the diesel heaters, and because there's like you could have the same model, and you could have like 6 different ways to code or program it to run, and sometimes you'll get like these weird signals and stuff on your display, and you could take a picture and post that in that group, be like, what does this mean? And they'll tell you, or hey, it's leaking here, and they'll tell you the fitting that you need to replace it with. And
I found out the hard way. I was in Missouri. I just happened to be, I needed a shower, so I hit up Table Rock Lake State Park right before, it was 2 years ago for more, when I went up there a week and a half early to go explore around. And I found out the hard way mine didn't like to run below what I think it's like measured in like, I think it's like kilowatts or something like that. I think mine doesn't like to run below 1.9, whatever the setting is. I forget, because I had it on like 1.6.
Would it just shut off?
1.6, and it shut off at like 2 a.m, dude. I woke up feeling like an Eskimo, teeth rattling. I was like, oh man, this is crazy. Jumped out of my tent, and I think it had dipped down. It was something crazy. I think it had dipped down to like 34 degrees or something. I was in gym shorts, flip flops, and a t-shirt trying to get that stupid thing started again. In the middle, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I think I finally got it back running right at about 3:30.
So you could even, and I know this from people that I've gone on trips with, you could test out your diesel heater in your shop 10, 15 times, and it's going to work every time. It's going to be that one night where it's like 10 degrees and snowing or raining, and then it's going to crap out. It's not necessarily crap out. It's just a different scenario. If the weather changes or if your diesel fuel gels up or something, I don't know. It's a whole bunch of factors.
Yeah, that was my real first outing with it. And just like you said, I had let the thing run for like 2 hours before I left. I was like, all right, cool. I know it works, but I didn't think ahead and trying to conserve diesel. I had it on a low setting. I should have done that experiment at home back in Louisiana, where it was like 70 degrees and didn't even need it,
Right.
But of course I could have done it here, and it wouldn't have done it, I mean, that's just
right.
And I am that person to where, I don't know if you heard the saying, a 5-minute project is one broken bolt away from a 3-day ordeal. I'm that guy.
Oh yeah.
No matter what project it is, I'm that guy. It's little Murphy's Law, It's if it can happen and it can go bad, it's going to be me.
Let's shift gears a little bit. You know quite a bit about radios and communications, right?
I know a pretty decent bit. Enough to get.
What's
by.
your forte? Like the GMRS or the ham, or
I'm in both. I have a GMRS Midland 575 in my truck, and I also have a dual band ham radio in my truck as well.
How do you like the 575?
Oh, I love it. I had the 275 to begin with.
That's what I have.
275 to begin with.
That's
a little more.
Did that come? Did it come with the new mic, the noise canceling mic, or do you have to buy that one
separately? I ended up buying that separately.
Was it in your own opinion? Are both of those upgrades worth it
to me? Being a little radio nerd type geek, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I could tell the difference with the noise canceling microphone, and I mean, I kind of like the on off knob. That way, it's off. You turn that knob, you know the radio's off. It's not going to come on.
I've not really heard a lot of feedback on it though, so that's why I was asking. If I'm sure you've had it on.
I'll tell you what, it's gaining in popularity. Midland puts out some pretty good radios to where you literally just take it right out, connect it to the battery, wire it up, find out where you want to put it, and it's pretty much
They are pretty
much plug and play. I mean, you can't get anything easier than that. You don't have to program them. That's where programming's where all the headaches come in. You think you got it programmed right, you go out, you install it, and one little setting's wrong, so you got to take the brain out, come back inside and reprogram it. Or unless you have a laptop, you can bring it to your truck. But it's just, I mean, you can literally almost explain how to install one of them over Facebook or FaceTime in 5 minutes. I mean, it's pretty, they're pretty self-explanatory and pretty easy to install. And I mean,
so let's rewind it. Let's rewind this just a little bit. So for people that don't understand what we're talking about like a glorified walkie-talkie, more or less. You know, it's replaced the CB radio. It's a clear channel? How would you describe the GMRS compared to like
it's definitely a lot clearer audio, and it's definitely a pretty good increased range. I mean, of course, if you look at some of these radios, you know, you see I guess the ones at Walmart, or I mean, hell, even the Midland ones that are like at Academy or online says, 30-mile range. Yeah, right. And like maybe perfect conditions, like stars are aligned just
in
perfectly.
The desert,
you
clear
know,
sky.
The moon is aligned just perfectly. I mean, it's almost like false advertising if you really want to think about it. I mean, that's like a very perfect setting. I mean, you're not going to get that, but it's definitely a lot easier.
I think
than
the
CB.
most with my 275, we were it was the Overland Shenanigans group is what we called it back in March or February. We did a trip in Arkansas as a group of 10, 12 guys, and we were south of Ozone, and there's a huge hill. I mean, some might call it a mountain. It's a huge hill. We were down at the bottom on our way up, and the guys were already at the top near the Ozone Burger Shack, the burger barn, and they were talking, you know, they're like, oh, look at that tree and all this. We were getting like intermittent chatter and stuff. And then I was able to reach out to them. By the time we got to the top of the hill, we're like, was that you talking? And we're like, yeah. We were probably 7 miles away, but it was windy road 7 miles. It wasn't like a straight line
with a bunch
7
of
miles.
obstructions and stuff in between. If you get up on top of a mountain and you have, like, I mean, I've never been out west with it, but I mean, I would assume, you know, you get out in like Moab and stuff like that, like out in some of like the deserts around like Vegas and stuff. You know, you get up on a couple of those hilltops. I'm sure the distance will be way better than it would be like, say, in Arkansas, some of the trails and like the Ozarks. You know, even being up a little bit high, you know, I mean, you're still going to have the trees, obstructions, rocks. I mean, there's a bunch of different factors that factor into that. But I mean, line of sight would definitely have a better range.
But for the most part, like, and I know nothing about radios and stuff. I just bought it because everybody else had it. You know, it's probably the number one style radio, the GMRS, that people get because they want to communicate with people on the trails and whatever. But it's pretty much a plug and play. You know, unless you want to really make it look fancy and plumb your wires in nice and all that stuff, that's going to take the most time. Finding a nice place to mount everything, you know, that's it. Because the mic's on the controller, so it's like, it's easy.
You can definitely have a nice, clean, hidden mount to where you just have, you know, the plug for the speaker mic wire coming out of the dash. I mean, they make little it's almost like not a switch pod, but like an actual jack, a mic jack that you can drill a small little hole. Just put that in your dash and wire it up to that. And I see a lot of people.
That's cool.
When they go park somewhere, they'll if they're not using it, you know, they'll disconnect it. Out of sight, out of mind. One less thing to be stolen, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you're driving a Jeep and your doors are off. That's awkward. How do you explain that to insurance?
Well, you see what had happened was?
See, my doors were off. Oh, they stole your doors? No, I took them off and I hung them in my garage. Do that. You're a Toyota guy. It don't matter. So anyway, like, what big trips do you got planned for 2023?
Man, I want to get up to the around the Buffalo River in Arkansas sometime this summer. I want to get up there.
Okay, you call me. You call me whenever
Oh,
you're going
yeah.
to do that. I'm like
Hey,
3 hours away.
You're a hell of a lot closer than I am. That's
That's what I'm saying. I'll make
only
it
bad
happen.
thing about living down here in Louisiana, man. I'm 7.5 hours away from all the fun places to explore.
Well, I've never been down to Louisiana, to be honest with you. I've been to Florida, been to Georgia. I don't really think I've ever been to
Man,
Louisiana. Is
it's
there?
crazy. They have a national forest, Kisatchie National Forest. It's broken up in about 4 different parts of the state on the west side of the state. They have a part that's in like southwest, a little bit up, a little bit further into like above Alexandria, and then up in Shreveport, they have another place like Shreveport, Natchitoches area. They have a part of it. If you go in the southernmost part of it, there are maybe like 2 or 3 little loops. Everything else is a bunch of forest, like little trails that are marked, like kind of like they are in the Ozarks, but they all dead end. It's crazy. And
Oh, really?
I mean, there's a couple that literally dead end, and you can look on Gaia, and within like an eighth of a mile or a quarter of a mile, there's another one right on the other side. And it's like, man, just would it literally be that much to take a bulldozer and connect them? You know?
So are they bermed then? So they're
Yeah,
impassable.
I mean, it dead ends at like a little circle, and it's ridiculous.
Wow,
like I have
that's
so
crazy.
many places marked on my Gaia that it's obvious that the locals and like the high school kids all go out there for their little parties, because you get to the end, turn around in one of these little circles, and it's just nothing but beer bottles and cans. I mean, it's crazy. You hit 2 or 3 of those, and you don't have any room in your trash bag to bring anything else out. I mean, I turned down one, and it was a pretty good one that went a little ways back. I mean, it almost looked like they had brought a utility trailer back there, and it looks like you could have built a small shed from all the building materials that they had dumped off out of there. It's crazy. And
Sheesh. Well, that's the people that don't care, man, and then it pisses that, for you, it pisses it all away for you, me, your kids, whatever. It's like there will be a day where we all wish we would have stepped up a little bit more.
Yeah, and it's bad, I mean, I had to try to get everybody together to do a cleanup day out here, and I had those spots marked.
Yeah,
I had made contact with somebody in the national park, I guess it's like a public relations liaison or something like that. She was really cool. They were going to get a dumpster in like a centrally located part of the national forest on one of like the main roads, and they were going to get trash bags. They were going to get all kinds of stuff, and we were going to try and like do like a little tag team with a couple other groups that needed like service hours and stuff. And I was mainly doing it because we're starting to get a lot more people down here that want to go explore these trails and go ride around. And it was like, hey, let's get together and let's go out there and show that, hey, we're actually trying to take care of the area that we have, and because I mean, we were going to meet up with a couple of rangers and everything, let them see our vehicles. Hey, okay. Hey, man. Oh, these guys are actually out here. They're not tearing stuff up. They're trying to leave it better than they found it, to where, we're kind of getting on their good side and trying to keep some trails open. And it was such a headache trying to logistically get everything together. And it was, people would say they would go, and then the week before the little cleanup date that we had scheduled, we went from like 20 or 30 people down to like 4. And it was like, man, I mean, kind of don't even want to go through.
Why is it so hard for people to commit to that stuff, and then they just feel like it's okay to just bail out?
I don't know, man. I guess it's
what do they
I guess it's like that with everything you try and plan. I mean, you try and plan a party, or you try and plan to get together. I mean, unless you have a solid group of people that actually, commits and actually follows through with it. I mean, things are going to happen. You're going to have people, oh, hey, I had a family emergency, or, oh, hey, I got called into work. I mean, you're going to have that. But I mean, 20 people getting getting called into work, or 20 people having a family emergency. I mean, that's kind of that's an odd coincidence.
That's what I'm saying though. If you would have said, if you said, "Hey guys, let's go wheeling this weekend," 4 people would have not showed up. You know, you would have had 26 people.
Yeah.
You know, and now it's like, oh, we're gonna do some trail cleanup. Oh yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, put me down. And
yeah,
you know.
I mean, it comes down to, you know, I mean, some people just have a thought. Oh, that's what I pay taxes for. I pay somebody to clean that up for me. You know?
Right.
But I mean,
not my problem.
And here's the thing: we have like what 46,000 people in the group, something like that. Last time I checked, 45. Some, you know, I mean, if everybody in the group, say 90% of the people that are actually in a group actually get out, go, you know, hit trails, do things when they're able to. You know, 95% of the people go. Everybody picks up a bag of trash. I mean, dude, that's a hell of a dent.
Mm.
You know.
Hey, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do the Budget Overland 1 bag challenge.
Hey, that'll work.
Budget Overland bag, and we'll do it on maybe this fall or something. Whenever the foliage and stuff's kind of died down, to where we could actually go in and clean it up, and like each club, each group, you know, go out. It's not like Earth Day, and we'll just do that. Post your picture, and heck, I get some sponsors and stuff. Maybe we could do like giveaways and stuff. That'd be really fun. Post your picture and a hashtag or something.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll make a note of that, man. But I mean, you know, if everybody did that, I mean, and you know I mean, there's probably 95% of the people that are in this group that do that. But you know, nobody, you know, not everybody posts pictures of it and looking for the recognition, you know. And if you're listening and you do that,
and they shouldn't have to.
Phenomenal, man. I love it. Keep it up. And you know what's fun? You know, other people see that. Like, oh, wait, man, why is this guy slowing down so much? Oh, man, that dude's picking up trash. Oh, man, I'm stopped. Why don't I pick up trash? You know, I mean, it could be a snowball deal, you know, and just keep on going.
Yep. Well, it should be the norm. And then I also like calling people out, too. If you see somebody throw something out the window or something, you stop and embarrass them, make them get out and get it. Like, there's no need for that. So... yeah, I'd like to call that like the Budget Overland 1 bag challenge, and maybe we could shoot for maybe October or something.
Maybe we can roll something into to Rendezvous too. That's a pretty good turnout at Rendezvous too.
Yeah, we'll let's brainstorm that more later. I think that's a good idea.
Definitely.
All right. So we're coming up on 35 minutes. Is there anything that you want to talk about?
Wow, I've been blabbering that long. Man, I'll tell you what, Benji.
It's collaborative.
I got the itch while I was at Moore, man. I was the only one of that group that I told you about. Mark, Rob, and I know Caleb's got his Conqueror. I was the only one in that original 5-man group still rocking a rooftop tent. Yep.
Really?
My buddy Rob, he was rocking a tent last year, and he was rocking a tent at Rendezvous. And about 2 weeks before Moore, I get a picture of a nice, beautiful black hiker trailer, and that started me down the path of spending money. I ended up hanging out with the hiker guys all throughout Moore. I tell you what, man, they definitely sold me on the hiker trailer, and not just the hiker trailer itself, but the man, all of the people with hiker were just so down to earth and personable, man. It was definitely a hard decision with some of the trailers that they had out there, but I got back from Moore, thought about it a good little bit, thought about how hot it is down here and how I'm not able to do anything from May to November. So May 30th, I threw my deposit down and started my build. So I got...
that's awesome.
Now I have about 3 months of impatientness waiting for that email that they say my build has started. And waiting for that completion build email. But it's looking like August or September. I should be in it.
That's awesome. I'm happy for you because you were like the whole weekend of Moore. You were just hanging out in the hiker area, and then you'd come out and you'd talk to us and be like, "Oh man, I'm gonna get me that hike. I'm gonna get me that."
Like, it was definitely
go get it.
Definitely on my mind.
I am excited for you because you didn't just rationally like just throw down and like I'm gonna get that. You did the pros and cons, and you're like, yeah, this is gonna actually work out for me and my family.
It's definitely gonna be a game changer, you know. But I mean, I was looking at some of those trailers at like, I mean, they had a guy near me that bought one of the I think it's the OBI Graveler is the one that I was looking at, the Graveler 2 or something. It's like a work body box with a rooftop tent. But the thing was like $22,000 with no AC. And I'm like, man, I was looking.
So yours has air conditioning in it?
I added it.
Okay, so tell me about that. Is it like a window unit?
It's
what is it? Is it like a sleek, low profile?
I think it's a Dometic, or it's either a Dometic or I think they're using a different one. I think it's 120 volt AC. So I'm gonna have to experiment with that and see if I'm gonna be limited with shore power, or throw a little generator on there, or add some more, add a few lithium batteries with it.
So for the heat, are you going to use your diesel heater, or does it have a heater on it also?
You know, it might have a heater on it. I really don't know. I was mainly more ecstatic.
Or it's like a mini split or something.
I was like, man, I can get warmer. It's harder to get cooler. You know, I mean, you can get
that
cooler,
humidity
but, I mean, there's only so much clothes you can take off, you know, before you start going to jail and things like that.
Okay, so last year it was the first time I actually like hammock camped, and I loved it. I was so comfortable, and not only because I was like laying nice, it was a lot cooler. And so, you know, forcing yourself to kind of do that, but still yet there's that fine line of when you're laying in bed and you've been in there for like an hour or 2 hours and you're just sweating. There's just nothing worse than that.
I don't know about you, but I mean, I'm spoiled now. I used to camp, and it used to be awesome, and man, heat, okay, whatever, when I was younger. But now it's like, you know what? I'm doing this shit for fun. I'm going to be comfortable. Mm-hmm.
There is no need to suffer.
I'm on my time off from work, and I'm out here sweating more than I do at work. I gotta be comfortable with this.
Yeah, not unless you're like doing some bushcraft or a lone kind of survival game. It ain't no contest. Well, that's awesome, man. I can't wait to. So, what model is it, or is it you kind of just build out your own stuff too, right?
They have their own. They have a little. They have Let me think. Like 4 packages, maybe. They have a Highway Deluxe, which is mainly like no off road, just a regular standard highway trailer where you can pull into like a campground. They have the they have the Highway Deluxe. I think it's the Mid Range Deluxe, and then the Mid Range Off Road XL, and then the Extreme Off Road. And I went with the Mid Range XL, 5x10, with a
so beefier suspension, beefier tires.
There's just little nuances that are different between the highway model. A little bit higher clearance, and the one that I ended up adding a 21-gallon water tank. A few different things. 270.
That's a lot of water.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one of those fill up when you get close to your destination deals. But I mean, it's super light. It's 2,100 pounds, so it's not going to be that heavy.
Okay, so I'm on Hiker Trailers right now. It's hikertrailers.com.
Hey, I'm gonna say it now. Hey, Kate, I'm not trying to sell them on a trailer.
I don't think I don't think I'm ever going to get a trailer.
That's to be good
honest
news because I don't want. Next time we all get together, I don't want Kate to like come after me. You sold him a trailer. You talked him into a trailer.
I mean, I'm not opposed to a trailer. I just and I want to. I'm going to have an episode out here. I don't know when. I'm collaborating with a few people, and I think I'm going to have you back on after you actually get your trailer and camp in it, because I want to get people's perspective, pros and cons, they wish they would have and could have, and then just I want some real feedback on the trailer option.
Yeah, I mean,
so those are good looking trailers, man.
I just the build quality, everything that I saw while I was there walking around. I mean, Hiker had that big area. They probably had, I want to say maybe 15 to 20 people with hikers in that VIP area that were staying there.
Wow.
Every single person that I talked to that had one of those trailers had zero complaints. Every single one that I talked to, hey man, I had a fridge box that was kind of out of whack on my trailer that from going off road so much. Man, I talked to Hiker, they fixed it. Like, I mean, it was, and the owner
cool.
is really, really, really personable. One of the lead little sales guys is awesome. I mean, they definitely won me over. And I mean, they weren't trying. They were just,
nice.
Hey, we're not, no pressure. We're not trying to pressure you.
The product spoke
we're not trying to pressure you into a sale. Hey, if you want, hey, we can do a quote. I sat there in their booth and walked around with, oh man, shoot. Now, of course, now that I'm talking about her, I forget her name, but they were awesome. Walked around. Hey, do you want this? You want this? I mean, you can literally go with their bare bones as they list it package, or you can add anything and everything. I mean, I was gonna do the solar panel, but I was like, I guess I could do it after. Just trying to cut little things here and there to bring the build cost down.
Yeah.
And I submitted it, and the more I thought about it, the more I was like, man, I hate to get a brand new trailer, and one of the first things I have to do is drill a hole in it. When I could have gone through the factory, had it. I mean, I'm not gonna half-ass it and do it. To where it's not going to look good, but
sure,
I mean,
sure.
There's a factory look and there's a DIY look. I mean,
that's like going and drilling a giant hole in your fender for a snorkel. Nope. Do you have a snorkel on your truck? Man, that was so sketch. Like for me, I was like, you got one shot. You got one shot to do it right. So this was like my second install of a snorkel ever. And I think, I don't know, it's nerve-wracking. Granted, no one's ever going to see that hole because the snorkel is so big on the outside. But anyway, I get it. It's like, you spend that much money on something, you're like,
I mean, I was going to put one in, but I I'm one of those, if the water's up over I got 33s and a 6-inch lift on my Tacoma. If the water's up to the bottom of my doors, you're not going to see me going through that. I'm going to live to drive another day. I'm going to back up and go somewhere else. Now granted, I mean, if I absolutely
that's really
had
cool,
to,
man.
Life or death, hey, it's just a truck. But I mean, hey, I got to get me one of those stickers that goes on the dash that says, remember, stupid, you got to drive this home.
That's right.
But
that's good. So as we head towards the exit a little bit, we're still a little ways away. We can keep talking. I don't mind. It's been good. What are some things that Justin did when he started out and he's looking back at himself now and he's thinking, gosh, why did I do that? What was I thinking? Is there any of those moments or anything that comes up? Maybe it's something you bought.
I go on a trip. I mean, even if I go somewhere like on vacation or hell, when I go to work, when I like this week, I'm going for 21 days. I know I'm going to overpack. That's just a thing with me. I always overpack. So now every time I go on a trip, I pack the truck, go on a trip, and while I'm on my trip, I like this last Moore deal. I went up there for Moore, and I spent a week on the way back. You know, in mid trip, your truck or your whatever you're in, if you've been living out of it for a week, you got to rearrange. You got to do like a midweek reset. And you know, it's like, why the hell did I bring this? Or, you know, I mean, it's just there's so much stuff.
And if you bought anything to it more, now you're adding
believe it or
to
not, I didn't buy. If I spent $75 or $100 and more, that was on the high end. I literally, I mean, I bought a little.
Wow.
I bought a one of those little seatbelt leashes for my dog to keep her from jumping around while we're going on trips. I mean, there was just a couple of things.
Those
I
are good.
know you saw me with that beef jerky that was going crazy on Facebook for more. I mean, just the little stuff, man. Luckily, I mean, I pretty much have bought everything that I need or I think I need. But the biggest thing, the biggest thing with me when in the beginning was, believe it or not, like food and making. I mean, 9 times out of 10, it's just me and a couple other people, you know. And if you're cooking and they're cooking too, you end up with so much like leftovers. Like, I would do like steak, a couple links of boudin, and some like potatoes and onions. And I'd look at the end after I ate. It's like, man, I still got all this food left. Well, I guess all right, I'm gonna eat it for lunch tomorrow. And believe it or not, a buddy of mine that I went to Rendezvous last year, a buddy of mine I've been hanging out with down here, known him from years. He's actually in the group. Jonathan Hines blew my mind on this Rendezvous trip because we went up a week early. Man, that guy has the setup. He literally cooked the entire 2 or 3 days before we left. And he smoked a brisket, smoked burnt ends. He did all kinds of little stuff, you know. I mean, ended up bringing a couple steaks with some awesome rub on it. He vacuum sealed it all. Made egg bites.
Nice.
That to this day, like that's my go-to camp breakfast now. If I'm going camping, I'm making these egg bites.
That's awesome.
Literally put like 3 or 4 in a vacuum seal bag. You literally have to heat up water. That's it. You have one pan.
That's awesome.
You know, in the morning, now I get my little jet boil, throw my water in it. As my water is heating up for my coffee, it's cooking the egg bites in it. One pot,
nice.
You literally pour the water into your coffee, dump the water out, and you're done.
Yeah.
You have nothing. The cleanup. You have no cleanup. I used to bring a cast iron, like all kinds of stuff, you know. I mean, I still have a little small cast iron with me just in case I want to grill a steak or something like that. But I mean, if I can get away, I'm on vacation. I'm enjoying myself. I'm camping. Now, granted, if I had a huge group, it would probably be impractical to cook that way. But I mean, if it's just going to be me, I mean that's a heck of an idea, man. And I gotta give him credit every time somebody asks me about it. It's like, hey, man, that's where I stole that from. But
so there's 2 things that come to mind, and whenever I started out, and I'm still fairly new, I've been doing this like 3 or 4 years. The overpacking sucks because you're bringing stuff you don't need, and then you'll come home with all this stuff that you're like, oh, I'm not going to take that next time. But slowly, we're all stuck in our ways. But multi-use items, and even like it could be your gear, it could be your food, so if you're freezing your food, or if you pack stuff that you could turn into 3 or 4 meals out of, breakfast burritos one night and you're having fajitas the next, or whatever, vice versa. It's like the most minimalist you could be, the better off you are. And I think a lot of people now, with all this crap that they've bought over the years, they're realizing, I don't need this extra weight. I don't need this extra stuff at all. I just want to get to camp, set up, chill out, enjoy everyone's company. If you're by yourself, maybe just hang out by yourself and then not have to worry about all this stuff. And then, especially in large groups and longer trips, people want to kind of get up and go. They don't want to get up and mosey around for 3 hours. Some people do, though. Some people have an agenda.
That's where the trailer is kind of going to change my way, because I got some good friends, Sharon and Richard, that live up in Tennessee. We met at Rendezvous a couple years ago, and I mean, we were at Rendezvous last year. Me, Jonathan, Sharon, and Richard. And Jonathan's tent, he's got a hard shell. His tent was packed up 3 minutes. Richard and Sharon have a trailer. They're drinking their coffee, looking at me like, "Hey, come on, hurry up, jackass! Fold up your tent, let's go." Because we were trying to go hit some trails and go explore.
That's awesome.
I mean, with having a trailer,
yeah.
Not only do you can leave most if not all of your stuff in it, except for like foods and stuff. You leave that, you're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like with me having a rooftop tent and not having a trailer, if I want to go somewhere, it's like, all right, pull everything out of the garage, throw everything in the truck. I mean, it's a 3-hour ordeal just to get everything loaded up. So
that's awesome. One last question for you. What's probably the coolest thing you've purchased for, I don't know, maybe under $400, under $300, somewhere in there, in the last year or two? The coolest thing that you're like, I don't leave without it.
Probably my shower. And it was right around like $400 because I got the Julka kit and then that dual room shower tent. Being on a trail after 3 or 4 days, that first shower after 3 or 4 days, man, you'd almost pay like $100 for that. It's awesome. And,
yeah.
What about you? What's the
Taylor
what's
just built
thing you bought? Come on now, put you on the spot.
Man, I'll tell you what. I bought I think it was a Blue Eddy. It was, it's like a 700 watt hour little power station that Taylor from Diamond State Off Road sent it to me last year. It was like a fire sale.
Oh, wow.
$200. And I'm like, and here's the kicker. We wanted black, and that's what we bought. So it's $200, free shipping, all this stuff. Well, we get an email. Oh, sorry, we're out of black. All we've got left is this, like teal color. And I'm like, yeah, for $200, I don't care. As long as it works. So that works with my fridge at night because I just keep it on my cigar or cigarette lighter plugged in during the day, and then at night I'll plug it in the Blue Eddy. Same thing like in the wintertime, I don't really need the fridge on that much, so I use it for my diesel heater. Works perfect. So I'm trying to save up my pennies and either do an onboard kind of charging station with a dual battery setup, something like that. But I'm not there yet. I really don't have a lot of room in my rig.
If you can get away with it, try and DIY your dual battery setup. Because most of the ones that
for sure.
Like I went with the Genesis off road dual battery setup, and that can get a little pricey. But then again, I'm not really electrical savvy to where I kind of want something that I could just buy, and I literally had to hook up 4 wires to both batteries. I mean, it was super easy. Had the isolator, had everything ready to go. So I mean, that's I'd rather spend a little bit more
Jacob,
and have ease of installation than I mean, man, they got some guys in Budget Overland that they'll pop up a setup. Oh, hey, look what I just wired up. And it's like, man, I'm so jealous of that. I wish I actually was able to know how to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh man, I got these solar panels. I got all this stuff wired up.
It's overwhelming. It is, like, to me, like, looking at it, because I'm not an electrician. I could do some stuff, but whenever you're talking DC and AC and you've got to run X, Y, and Z size gauges with relays and all this stuff, you're thinking, what? But I've been educating myself slowly over the past year, picking people's brains. Like Tate from Overland Spices is really knowledgeable in this. Jacob Biddle's got a nice setup in his truck, but he doesn't have back seats because of it and his fridge, but it's a clean install and it's got a platform to where he could put stuff on top of the platform because of all his camera gear and all that stuff. He's charging batteries constantly, plus his phone and all that other stuff.
I just thought of something. You said for $300 or $400 or less, and I completely forgot about it. And I've been flying it every single day since I got home. I lucked out. I was on natural state overland the other day, and Caleb and Paige from No Barrier Adventures. I was literally in the right place at the right time, Benji. They posted a DJI Mini 2 drone for $300, like 2 minutes before I saw it on Facebook, and I was able to jump on it. That thing is awesome.
Wow.
That thing's awesome.
Awesome. That's fun.
Yeah,
Are you getting the hang of it, flying it around and stuff?
But it's all good. It didn't damage it, so I got lucky.
So we're gonna expect a YouTube channel like
I don't
soon.
know about that.
We got to come full circle with this overlanding
I
thing.
I don't know. I like watching the YouTube and everything. I don't know if I have the patience for that. Having to run ahead and set up cameras and doing drone shots and
it's insane.
I'll just go on trips with Caleb or Taylor and them and let them do it, and I'll just do a cameo.
Yeah,
do it that way.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, them boys. Some of these guys out there, they have mad skills when it comes to recording and telling stories, and I appreciate each and every one of them too. I mean, there's probably at least 10 channels out there I like to watch regularly, and they're all different.
I saw that one that Caleb did. It was for 2021 at Moore. Man, that was awesome. Like just the intros and stuff like that. Yeah. I would love to be able to have that ability to do editing and things like that.
Yeah. Well, before we say goodbye, is there anything you want to tell anybody out there in the world of listeners, of Overland listeners, what to do? Any advice, anything you want to tell them?
Get out there and explore. Don't get caught up in, needing the biggest or the best or the name brand stuff. My best advice is to go make a trip, make 2 or 3 trips, and each trip, I think it was in Budget Overland the other day. Somebody had a notebook. I think I saw that post where take some notes. Hey, what would you like to have on this trip? What could you do without? And just go that route. I mean, if I would have done that when I first started, I'm sure I probably could have saved $1,000 just buying little things here and there, just get out there and explore.
It's good advice, man. Well, Justin, I appreciate you not only for being on tonight, but being an admin and being in the community, being a cool cat within the community. I'm looking forward to 23 and 24, my friend.
Man. I appreciate you letting me help out. I know we got a bunch of good group in there that try to keep it running smoothly and do our best. I mean, You're always going to have a few that disagree with some of the posts that get taken down and things like that. But I mean, it's being done for the betterment of the group. Just to try and alleviate some of the BS that goes on with it. But it's definitely not to be malicious or, oh, hey, we don't like this person, so we're going to take down their stuff. I mean, we seem like we have a pretty good group that has takes a level-headed approach to it and tries to keep it running smooth. But I tell you what, man, it's growing like crazy. It's awesome every time you log in or you open up the page and you see, oh, hey, you gained 110 people, or man, you go in and you got 175 pending members. It's definitely cool to see where it's come from.
It's crazy. Yeah, we need to do something also like you were saying earlier. Maybe on the website, like drop a pin and I'll go in and like figure out where everyone's from. Like not necessarily the state or the country, but like the town. Like drop a pin. Awesome. Like that'd be so cool. It, That takes some time. That could probably be a group project
like that.
Yeah. There's technology out there to where you could do it yourself, and then it'll just do it for you. But well, we are officially
an hour.
At 1 hour.
An hour worth of me blabbing. That's insane.
All right, everybody, one and all, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to go leave a review on Apple Podcast. I will see you Monday for Overland Shenanigans. Bye-bye.